First, to the staffs of those who worked on this, to you, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Pitts, the chairman of the subcommittee, to ranking members Waxman and Pallone and their staffs, staff of the full committee, the subcommittee, I want to congratulate all of them and all of you. One of the remarkable things about this is that when we've had food and drug legislation before this committee, there's always been a huge amount of controversy. That's absent. This is an almost sleepy meeting of the committee. And yet, this is going to be one of the most important pieces of legislation we work on this year. The fact that there is no controversy here indicates that extraordinary good work has been done by all who've worked on it, and that the negotiations have been accomplished with some rather extraordinary success and attentiveness by those who participated. And again, I want to congratulate the staffs. We all know that the industry supports this, the consumer groups support it, and the administration, in fact, everybody else does. You will find virtually no controversy about this. We noticed that heparin was a tremendous warning to the United States. It was a wake-up call to industry, the consumers, food and drug, and it made it clear that FDA needed new tools to discourage the kind of situation there and to detect risks to our food supply. And I want to commend the committee for the drafting of legislation that's going to help us to make real progress towards the goal of seeing to it that our people are safe and seeing to it that food and drug is properly armed with the tools that it needs to do what it must do, and that it is able not only to impose hard remedies upon the American industry, but remedies which have been worked out in consultation with the industry and with their full support. But equally important, or perhaps more so, is for the first time we're able to get at foreign manufacturers abroad to see to it that our people are protected against irresponsible behavior by those people. And also that there is safety in drugs moving across international boundaries. We've built a great deal on the good work that FDA is already doing, and also upon strong agreements negotiated by industry and FDA. And this is going to enable buyers in this country to understand that the product that's produced is going to be an example of what good committee work makes possible to happen. I'm delighted to lend my support to the legislation and to pass this bill swiftly out of committee. And I urge a continued display of unity by all of our committee members on this legislation. I would note that this legislation goes well beyond anything which has ever been done on the question of food and drug safety. And I would hope that my colleagues would understand that all of us have differences we find with parts of this legislation. As I like to observe, the last perfect bill or piece of legislation that was written was done by the finger of God and came off Mount Sinai in the hands of Moses. And I am pleased to note that even that caused a certain amount of distress. Well, we don't need to worry about that. We have done a good job. And I think that to have any fights or troubles stirred up that don't include the support of those who have worked so hard on this would be an unwise step and probably a danger. I know that you, Mr. Chairman, and the chairman of the subcommittee and the others of us who've worked on this are willing to hear the concerns of our colleagues. But I do urge on my colleagues a very moderate approach to this legislation. Let's get it done. Let's see to it that we show how this committee can work and how we can work together in a bipartisan way to produce great legislation very much consonant with the public interest and with the needs of the country in an area where enormous risks to the well-being and the safety of the people are always obvious and always a very near danger. I yield back the balance of my time, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The Chair would now recognize the other Chairman Emeritus of the full committee, Mr. Barr.